All right, welcome back, everybody. And we are going to do a full demo right now of week 4's assignment, which again, it's a continuation of everything that we did in week 3. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you are watching the first part of the live session video, so that way you can see what we need to do for the discussion this week. Oh, I forgot to go over announcements. Hold on one moment. For those of you who are still here and still watching at home, I'm going to go over the announcements first because there's some kind of important announcements that I posted today. All right. I already went over the reminder on redos and late work. Definitely finish this week strong. Let's look at DJ's hours for this week. And here we go. Okay, so DJ has hours on Monday from 4 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Wednesday from 7 to 11 p.m. Mountain Time, Friday from 6 to 11 p.m. Mountain Time, and Saturday from 4 to 10 p.m. Mountain Time. So some really good hours this week. If you need that extra help, make sure you're getting into the Student Success Center and seeing DJ. Now, if you are missing a discussion post from week 2 or week 3, I will open these up to be graded with late points until Friday. So get those extra points if you need them and finish this week strong. If you submitted week 2 and week 3, but you are missing your discussion from week 1, please email me directly regarding this, regarding resubmitting week 1. Also, don't forget to watch the videos for week 4. They are located in the Readings and Videos tab on the homepage. And also, I thought that this would be really interesting for you guys to watch. So I went all the way back to Mod 1 of 2017 and then posted the videos from week 1 of this mod and week 2 of this mod from Design Club and Coffee with Creatives, because there is a guest speaker, Lee, who in the first video describes how he found his dream job after he graduated from school at Independence. And he also gives some great, just real world time management, going to school, going to work, balancing your life tips that really helped him out. And I thought it was I thought that he was just really down to earth and just such a great guest speaker. So apparently I wasn't the only person who thought this, because they asked for Lee to come back. And the first video discusses putting together your portfolio and how important putting together that portfolio is. And then Lee actually comes back in the second video and he explains how he went and started to revamp his portfolio to make sure that it was staying current with all of the new things that he's doing, and how you can't just leave that portfolio and let it get stagnant. So again, 3 great videos that you can watch. If you don't get a chance to watch them this week, I would say to definitely bookmark them and, try to get a chance to watch them. He just gives some great advice as, being a student at IU, and what, how he went through the process. And I think he's somebody that you guys can probably relate to. So definitely, I really suggest it. Like I said, I put these 3 videos together on purpose for you guys to watch. All right, so those were the announcements. All right, so let's hop back into InDesign this week. So as I was stating in the last video, it says to duplicate the file that you created for week 3's assignment and rename it for this week. And again, if you named your assignment 3-4, you don't need to rename it. You can just continue to keep working. But let's say that you named your assignment week 3, and so it needs to be renamed. What you can do is, there we go, open that file up and do a file, save as, and navigate over to your week 4 folder that you created. Make a folder for your assignment. And you can rename it from 3 to 4 and save it. And then once you're done working on it, you'll package it over there. All right, so let's take a look at some of the things that some people might have had some trouble with. And I think the thing that is still giving people the most trouble is the tabs. So let's go over that one more time. So for our menu, we set up a tab as a paragraph style, but you'll remember that I told you that there was an easier way to set it up for just the table of contents this week. So I'm going to select these, just these 5 lines. I'm going to go up into type, and I'm going to open up tabs. Where are you? Right here. There we go. And you'll notice it puts this ruler right here. And I wish I could zoom in a little bit. Let me take, you know what I'll do? I'm going to take a screenshot and then open up that screenshot in Photoshop so I can zoom in and show you guys. Hold on. That might make it a little bit easier to tell where you're supposed to click and everything else. It's kind of hard to see it on the screen. All right. So right here, you'll notice, scrubby zoom, turn that off, that there is this is one of the reasons why I didn't like when InDesign went to this new color scheme. I'm not going to lie, is I find that the dark gray next to the not as dark gray next to the medium gray can be really confusing when you're trying to explain where people need to click on something. So to add in the arrow where you want it to end, you need to click in this area right here, right above where the ruler is. Not up here, not down here, right in here. Oh boy, my computer is running slow tonight. Right. So let's say that I'm going to take out my tab. So my tabs aren't in right now. For this type of table of contents, you want to select the right justified tab, which, going back to Photoshop, is this one right here. So let me put a little circle around it. So this is the one that you're going to want to select. A little border. All right, right there. And what that is going to do is it's going to align all of the numbers against their right edge. So again, I'm going to click right here, and you'll notice, oh, I picked the wrong arrow. That's okay. As long as you have that arrow selected, which again, I'm going to take another screenshot so you can see what it looks like. As long as you have that arrow selected, which it puts a little blue bounding box, again, super hard to see on the screen. That's how you know you can move it. And let's say that you tried to click on the arrow, but you accidentally clicked next to it and you added another arrow. Just grab it and drag it off. That gets rid of the arrow. And then click on the arrow, change it to the right align, and then you can drag it, and it gives you that line to follow, so you know where you want it to end, right till as far as you can go to the edge of the text box. And where it shows right here, this like white tick, that's the end of your text box. So anything that you drag this arrow, it will let you drag it. past that little you know, sideways triangle, it's gonna move things off of the page. So your tabs will be really messed up. See, it'll put it on the next line. And then if that happens, again, drag your arrow, move it back, and then you can even drag your ruler by clicking in your ruler and moving it back. Again, it's a little bit confusing to see where you're supposed to click within InDesign, so that's why I wanted to show you those screenshots. Then to get the dots to go in, you want to go to where it says leader. Again, leader is right here, and you're going to add in the dot. And then just kind of click over here. And this even shows you the X, it shows you where you are on the ruler. Like I'm at 4.8889 inches is how big my tab is. And then once you're done, you can close it out. So again, that seemed to be the thing that's definitely still giving people, you know, some trouble. So I wanted to go over that one more time with you. Now, the other thing that was giving people trouble was making sure that you had your master page set up. So again, we're going to go into the master page, double click up here in pages on the master page, and you're going to, in order to get the folio, the page number, you'll notice that it has a letter A there, but it's not really, I'm not really typing in the letter A. I am doing type, insert special character, markers, current page number. So that's how you get that number in. The bullet point. Okay, there's two different ways that you can add in the bullet point. I know if you, all right, you're on a PC, so I'm going to have to look up the Alt number for you. There's actually three different ways. So if you're on a Mac, you hit Option 8 and it adds in the bullet point for you. If you are on a PC, there is actually an Alt number. It's like an Alt code for a bullet. And I believe it's Alt 0149, I believe. Yep. 0149. But let's say that that doesn't seem to be working. Google bullet point and you can go into any of these and you can actually copy the bullet point, you know, just Control C and Control V right into InDesign. Oh, why is it doing that? Let me try putting it into text first. Oh, this is an image. That's why. Hold on. Yes, you should just hold down Alt and type 0149. It's been a very long time since I've owned a PC and done that, but I'm 99% sure. All right, and if you go to the Wikipedia for bullets typography, you should be able to copy it right from there. Let's try it. Yes, that one works. So the Wikipedia, when you Google, go there and you can copy it right from, in typography, a bullet. So you can copy it right from in there. You can even get the triangular bullet, a white bullet, you can get any of them. That's what I've had to do in the past. When I can't find the Alt code for something, I've just Googled it and then copied and pasted it into InDesign. So that was another thing that was giving people a little bit of difficulty. Let's see. The other thing, oh, one person had an error, and I don't know if anybody else ran into this, where her pay attention bullet was going crazy and I couldn't figure it out. And then finally I had to scoot the text box over just to the right, like nudge it over so it was right on the margin or right off of the margin to get it to work. So if you run into something weird that might be happening with that bullet point, just try to scoot your text box with the black arrow over. And it was kind of funny because I didn't take off, obviously, I didn't take off any points on that. But it was one of those things where when I saw it, I was like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And then it took me about a half hour in her file to figure it out, but I was bound and determined to get that figured out. Yeah, there's certain things that just act differently on the PCs, and I can never tell which students have a PC and which students have a Mac, and it's really hard because I obviously am doing a screen capture as I'm doing my live sessions, so I only have a Mac to work on. So, you know, I did work for years in graphic design on a PC, so I try to, you know, kind of be cognizant of the fact that, oh, you know, it's control on the PC, not command, and it's, you know, things like that. But sometimes you run into just those little things like the bullet point right here that can be a little bit difficult. So if you run into any problem, you know, in the PC version, definitely, you know, first things first, try to Google it and see if you can get to the bottom of it. And if you can't get to the bottom of it by Googling it, you know, definitely shoot me an email. And if I can't figure it out, I'll try to ask some questions. My husband still works on a PC at work. He has a Mac at home, but he works on a PC at work too. All right, so those seem to be the things that we're giving people. Oh, one other thing, the runaround. I call it runaround still, but it's actually text wrap for the images to get your text to bump over right here. So go up into Window and open up text wrap. And you want to make sure that you are selecting the second box over. It shows a square in the middle with the lines going around it. And then you need to unlock the settings because your last setting, which is the right-hand side, needs to be set to 0.1875. And I agree. I think you learn better when mistakes are made too, because you kind of, you know, you have to problem solve a little. And I will say this, 95% of graphic design is following instructions and problem solving together. And sometimes I think the other 5% is your creativity, because you need to problem solve that situation to get all of those words onto the page. You need to follow the instructions that were given to you by your client to make sure you don't forget anything that's going onto the page. And then the other 5% is when you get to do cool stuff, right? You know, that's how I feel anyways. All right, so that text wrap, that was probably the other thing. Other than that, you know, I was really happy with what I saw this week. So kudos, everybody, kudos. All right, so we're going to do pages 2 and 3 this evening, which I would like everybody to give me a round of applause, because without fail, every other time I've taught this course, I've referred to the inside 2 pages as pages 3 and 4. Because I think to myself, well, we did 2 pages last week, so in my mind, I'm always like pages 1 and 2. But it's page 2 and page 3. So the first, I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did last week. I'm going to go into my master page first. I'm going to open up my layers, and I'm going to turn on that originals layer, and I need to unlock it because I'm going to place page 2 in my master page so I can see how to set up the bottom portion, the bottom folio for page 2. So I'm going to go into File, Place. And remember, if I'm placing a PDF and I'm not placing page 1 of the PDF, if it's a multi-page PDF, you need to click on Show Import Options so you can get over to the pages that you need to place. and then I'll click open. I'm going to navigate to page 2 and hit OK. And I know it's not going to place it exactly where it needs to go, so I'm going to have to kind of wing it. Easiest thing to do will be to line it up with the line from last week. You drag a ruler down. This is one thing that kind of drives me nuts about InDesign, is if you're working in spreads, it won't put the ruler across both spreads. And I think that that's a smidge annoying. 0. All right, so I'm going to select the line from last week. I'm going to hold down the option button, and you'll notice it goes from 1 arrow to 2 arrows. And as I start to drag, I'm going to hit the shift with my other finger and hold down shift and just continue to move that over. Actually, I can just probably send it over to the 0.5, my X coordinate, and that moves exactly where I need it to be. Perfect. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my student matters. I'm going to select it, hold down option, and drag. And as I start to drag, I'm going to hold down shift, line it up. And then for this, I just need to select the text inside and right justify it. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky. So I'm actually going to hit copy, either Command C, Control C, or edit copy. And then go over here. I'm going to say paste in place. Whoops, probably put it in the wrong spot. Copy. Paste, there we go. And I want to make sure that it is lined up appropriately with this box. So this text box is on the Y coordinate of 10.344. I'm just going to copy that, select this box, and I'm going to paste in the Y coordinate. Quick and easy way to line things up. And then I'm going to send it over to the edge by clicking 0.5 in the X coordinate, select, and left justify the text. But the text is a little bit different in this box. So you can kind of rearrange the text, or honestly, you can retype it in. So first off is the page number. So I'm going to go up to type, insert special character, markers, current page number. It's going to add in the A, space, my bullet point, space, May, space 2018. And now I can delete my original from there. And when I go to my pages and click on page 2, the folio is now there with the page number. But what else did it do? It added a folio to page 4. So I need to make sure that I take this off of page 4, because remember, this needs to be cut out and it needs to be mailed. So this cannot be there, or it's not a mailable piece. So there's 2 ways that you can take care of this situation. What you can do is, it says Master A is applied to page 4 in your pages. You can drag none and place it on top, and that gets rid of it. Now there's no master page applied. Or you can right click on the page in pages, and you can say override all master page items, which means that it puts them as clickable items on your page, and then you can just select them and delete. So either way does the same thing. But at least now the master page is still applied. So let's say that you needed something else on every single page. You could, add it to the master and it would show up on page 4 like you needed it to. All right, so we're going to again in my layers, my original layers. And you'll notice it added it back in on page 1. I'm going to make sure I'm on that layer, and I'm going to place page 2 and page 3 into my spread on the originals layer, and then I'm going to build it again on my working newsletter layer. So I'm going to do File, Place, the mockup, make sure I have Show Import Options clicked, click Open, navigate over to page 3, and it says, like, do you want to place a range, 2 to 3, we could say. You could click OK, but that might be a little bit confusing for some people, and it's not going to put exactly where you want to go, but I'll show you it both ways. So again, File, Place, Mockup, go to page 2 and click OK and place it. And I believe we had it at, I needed it at 0 and 0. Nope. 0 and 0.5. Nope. Point. That looks good. I'll go with 0.2. It's probably supposed to be 0.2. And then I'll do the same thing up here. File, Place, or Command or Control D. Mockup. Navigate over to page 3. Place it. And again, just make sure that it's all lined up. Looks good. So that's how you place them each individually, but I will show you how to do them together. So that way, if you want to kind of expedite the process, you can. So again, click on NL Mockup, go to Range, and you want to say 2-3. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to click for the first one, and you'll notice it gives me the preview of the second one, and click. So again, both of them pretty much do the same thing. 0 tab 0.2. And I wish I remembered. .8 times 0.45. Perfect. All right, and then I'm gonna turn down the opacity on these. So right up here in my toolbar up top where it says 100%, I selected both of them. I'm gonna just kind of turn those down to 40% and then lock my originals layer so I don't accidentally move anything out of the way. I'll go back to my working newsletter layer. So remember last week we had linked the text boxes for how to succeed in a difficult class. So it ran up from this text box up into this text box. We're going to do the same thing for the get more out of your study time, but we're going to need to link it across not only 3 columns, but onto another page into a 4th column. So the first thing that you might want to do is just manually go and draw in your text boxes. So that's what I'm going to do. And sometimes you have to make them just a little bit wider than the margin. Change it to body copy. And I like to make one text box and then kind of make a copy of it so they're all the same width. Again, you can just draw 3 text boxes with the type tool, completely fine. But if you want to make an easy copy, again, hold down that Option key, click on it, and drag. And as you start to drag, hold down the Shift key. The Shift key keeps it straight in line with the one that you're making the copy of. So I don't accidentally raise it up higher or lower. Then close this one up here. And bring this one over here. There we go. And I'm going to go over into my downloads, and I need to find that article, which is called Get More Out of Your Study Time. So it's called Study Time, the doc file. Oh. Open with other. Open with Microsoft Word so it looks like everybody else's. There we go. And you'll notice that the Get More Out of Your Study Time, that's one of our main headlines. I'm going to copy and paste from the student's balance, and I'll grab the Get More Out of Your Study Time on my own. Also, remember last week I was saying you might want to take out the bullet points in Word. Definitely do it this week as well. So I'm going to grab this section right in Microsoft Word, and I'm going to remove the bullet points because it will mess up and give you double bullet points in InDesign if you don't do it that way. So I'm going to remove them. Make sure there aren't any other ones. And copy this. And paste it in. Whoops. Character style should be none. Paragraph style should be body copy. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to, again, I'm going to make a screenshot for people so they can see it because it's really difficult to see. So when I zoom in, this is that red box it adds, and this is actually a plus sign, which means I have overset text. So that's what I need to click on in InDesign. Click here with my black arrow. You have to click on the box, click to get the text, and you'll notice it gives like a preview, and then click into the next text box, and then you'll have to click down. Do it again for this one, then click and do it again for that one. And then I'll format that after. Move these over here. All right, so next I'm going to move the rest of the text in, the Get More Out of Your Study Time text. Copy that, draw my text box. And you'll notice it's not centered, but it is header 1, and just put paragraph style to basic paragraph. And I can add in the image as well. So this whole top part will be taken care of. So I'm going to draw my image box. I'm going to do File, Place, and this image is called Study Time as well. You'll notice all the images are the same exact naming convention as the document files. Oh, I still have that checked. And then I'm going to go up into Object, Fitting, Fit Content, whoops. Object. I always get it wrong the first time. Fitting, fill frame proportionally. There we go. And then I can focus on, oh, we'll add him in as well. Our studying dude down here. Again, draw the frame first. file, place, and he is study time 2, I believe. And you can unclick show import options at this point because there's no extra pages. And object, fitting, fill frame proportionally. Perfect. All right, so my first paragraph, I have a drop cap there. So I need to go into my paragraph styles to that drop cap that I made and add that in. And then my second paragraph has that subheader. Add that in. And you might just need to move some things like this letter A. There we go. Approach. I need to move approach to the next line. And then my bullet points started here. Add those in. Then I need to remove, it looks like, a return. And this is the subheader, your environment matters. And just to let you know, the width of my text boxes is 2.41. I don't know if that is the magical width, but apparently I'm having a little bit of an easier time getting things to match up this week. So if you're trying to, and I don't like to have a hyphen go from one page to the other. So I'm going to hit Shift Enter where it says material and then kind of hyphens and move material all the way over onto the next page. And I think if I move B to the next line and places, that takes care of that. And then again, I have to remove a extra return right there. Schedule matters. That's a subheader. Extra return. So again, there's a couple of extra returns in this one that you'll need to take out. Learning matters is a subheader. And kind of just getting rid of some of the hyphens that don't really need to be hyphenated. So I have one word by itself on a line. And move it. That looks good. And again, save, and save often. All right, next up, I'm going to do this healthy snacking. So again, like I had done on page 1, what I had done, my layers, here we go, is I put the background, the blue background on its own layer, and then I put the text on a layer above it. So I can do the same thing on page 3. I can do the blue background on its own layer and then the healthy snacking text on the layer above it. I can even rename this layer from blue background page 1 and call it blue background pages 1 and 3 and put it on the same layer to kind of, minimize. I'm sure when you are working in layers and you have hundreds of layers going, it can get a little bit confusing. And you can even, if you've already figured out that blue background on page 1, you can even select that box, go up to edit, copy it, make sure that you're down on page 3. And to make sure that you know what page you're on, if you look down here, it shows you the page and you can actually click on the little arrow and it'll move you to the correct page. So especially when you're working in spreads, you need to be on the correct page when you paste something. So that way it doesn't accidentally paste it on page 2 or accidentally paste it back on page 1, little things that can kind of happen. So I'm just gonna make a copy of that box. And then I'll do the same exact thing that I did last week. I'm gonna turn the layer off until I get everything all set up inside the box, and then I'll turn the layer back on. So I'm gonna make another layer, and this one's going to be called Healthy Snacking. So that way I know exactly where I am if I'm looking for things. Imagine if I didn't have any of my layers named and I was trying to find which layer that background was on to turn it off. Oh, that would be a nightmare. I'm gonna work my way down the page again. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw the box for the image. And I can tell it's supposed to be centered in the background, so I might just turn the background on for 1 second and select both the background, whoops, and that square that I just drew. Go to Window, where's my align? There we go, under Objects and Layout. Just make sure that, oh, I apparently got it spot on. And I'll turn that back off. And I'm going to do a file place and put that Healthy Snacking image in. Healthy Snacking, the first one. Again, go to Object, Fitting, and I want to fill frame proportionally. Then you will notice that there is a text box that spans 2 columns, and then a text box that in a separate way spans 2 columns. So we're still going to link these 3 text boxes. But first I want to put in the image so I can kind of see where to draw my text boxes. So I'm going to draw my bounding box again. Go to File, Place. Go down to Healthy Snacking 2. Object, Fitting, Fill Frame Proportionally. And click off. And I'm going to start drawing these text boxes. So I need 1 text box up here for my headline, because my headline is not going to, well, in this case, it is actually sitting randomly enough on the baseline grid, but my headlines aren't set up to sit on the baseline grid. So sometimes it's a little bit easier to work with them in separate text boxes. So I have that 1 text box. Then I'm going to draw the text box for the first part. And I'm going to bring it right down to the top of this image, and also right to the right-hand side of this image, just to give it, sometimes with the text boxes, you have to give it a little bit of padding, so that way it doesn't show overset text, because anything like these descenders, like for the G that are hanging down, if your text box was close to here, it's going to consider this G as not fitting in the text box, which means this whole line doesn't fit in the text box. So you gotta give a little bit of room for the text to kind of be within that text box. And then I'm gonna, I'll just draw it. I'll draw the second one. And to not accidentally click in this text box, because it's so close to that line, I'm gonna start drawing at the bottom right-hand corner and just match it up at the top. And again, make sure that that's correct, and open it up just a little bit. What was the size I made these ones? 2.41. I don't know if I need it that wide. I think 2.25 is fine for this one. And then again, I'll do that over here. Start at the bottom corner. This one needs to be a little bit wider because you will notice that the bullet point is over here. And then one thing I'm going to do, because I noticed that it's kind of defaulted to my header paragraph style, is I'm going to select each of the text boxes with my black arrow tool. And under character style, I'm going to set it to none. And under paragraph style, I'm going to set it to body copy, and that should retain those values when I put the text in. And I can click on this one and go to character and set it to header 2, because I think that's the header that it is. And go over and open up my healthy snacking document. Hopefully it will open in Word, and it does. Yay! Little things, right? Close that out. All right, so I'm going to grab healthy snacking and copy it. And if you've ever wondered how I tab from application to application, I realized I never showed you that quick key. If you hold down, if you're on a Mac and you hold down the command key and you hit the tab button, it opens up this little preview basically of all the applications you have open. And if you hit tab, you can send yourself right through the different applications, and whenever you let go of both buttons, it brings you over to that application. But let's say that you accidentally tabbed right past InDesign. With your mouse, you can also select the application. You can do the same exact thing on a PC. Instead of hitting Command, though, you would hit the, I believe it's the Windows key that you have to hit. You know, the one that shows the Windows icon, and then hit Tab, and it'll cycle you through the different different applications that you have open. It's Monday. It's Monday, and on Mondays we lose our vocabulary. Everything is a thing or an it or a whatchamacallit. All right, so healthy snacking. I'm gonna copy and paste that in, and I'll manually just move that down. But you'll notice that my default for this character style is to be left justified. So I need to override the style, and I need to, there's kind of two different ways that you can do this. I'm going to make a duplicate style of header 2. So I'm going to right click on header 2 and click duplicate style. If you don't have a 2-button mouse, click on it and hold down the control key and then hit duplicate style. And I'm gonna say that this is header 2B. And under basic character formats, hold on one moment. Cancel. Go over into paragraph style because I need to edit the paragraph aspects of it. And I'm going to say, create a new style, and double click. And this is going to be header 2B based on no style. And it should have retained, it did, Helvetica bold. Then I'm going to say paragraph. Where are you? Alignment is going to be centered. And you'll notice this one aligns to the grid. So I want to say align all lines to grid for this one and hit OK. So now I have a new header 2B paragraph style, which I honestly could have made my headers paragraph styles instead of making them character styles. Just sometimes my computer does some weird things with paragraph styles, and no matter what, it will set the whole paragraph. So if I want to put everything in one text box, I have to have different character styles. So that is the reason that I set it up that way. So you might be wondering that. I've been burned in the past. All right, so you'll notice in this Word file that instead of the bullets, it's a numbered list. So again, we're going to select it and remove those numbers before we copy and paste everything in. And we're going to grab from stress all the way to the end and copy and paste it into this first text box, and it's gonna run outside of it. So I'm gonna have to click with my black arrow on the text box, click the plus sign, add it here, and then click the plus sign and add the rest of it right there. So my first paragraph needs to have a drop cap. Add that in. And then these two, from here to the end, need to be bullets. Add that in. And I just need to close up, it looks like, this text box a little bit to get that onto the next line. And that looks good. That's pretty spot on. And then go to my layers. I'm going to turn on that background, and I'm going to turn off the originals layer and save. We'll take a look. So personally, if I was creating this, I probably would have centered this headline, but it's not centered in the original, so I'm going to keep it like it is in the original. So we want to make sure we've got everything in there, that we didn't forget anything. So what I like to do is I like to open up the original and look at everything, even on page 1, even if I didn't change anything on page 1, just to make sure that things didn't fall off or I didn't accidentally mess something up. So I'll go back into my page 1. All right, I've got my flag at the top, how to succeed in a difficult class, which I hope you guys didn't read this and say, well, now I know how to succeed in DES 105. I hope it wasn't that difficult for you. I hope it was a little bit of a challenge because, you know, everything should be a challenge, or, you would know everything. And then what's the point of me? All right, I've got my image, I've got my 2 sections of text, I've got my cyber tip aware, my other image down here, keep a clean machine, so I'm just kind of double checking against things. Got my table of contents, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 with the dots. It's May 2018, page 1, student matters, it says month, year, page 1. Next I've got get more out of your study time. So that looks good. I've got the images. Your environment matters. I might close this up just a smidge to see how that does. That didn't work. Go to feel and move feel, shift enter. Oh. And then move this, shift enter to the next line. There we go. I just don't want too much running into where the fold is going to be. So I'm trying to, certainly interesting then. Oh, okay. Let's see if that works. Interesting then. I don't know if that's going to fit. Oh, it does. There we go. Move family to the next line. So it should say, is TV. Is TV the alone can then. All right. Moving things around. Let's see, page 3. Schedule matters. Learning matters. This is a little bit different, but it's fine. Then healthy snacking, stress popcorn, avocado, broccoli, hummus. I'm getting hungry. We're always talking about food in this class. Oh, I will show you how you will know if you have overrun text. Great question. So there's 2 ways to find out if you have overrun text. The first way is when you package your file, it will give you an error and it will say that there is overset text. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to close up this text box. I can see that there's a plus sign here. I can also see right here that I have 1 error. And you can pull up pre-flight panel and it shows you the error and it says text, overset text, text frame, page 3. And then if you click on that, it brings you right to the text frame that is overset, and you can fix it. So that's one way. If you get the green light and it says no errors, you're good to go. The other way, so let me close it up again, that you can tell is when you go to package, file, package, it will tell you that there is an error. Links, colors, print settings. You'll click package and it says save. Oh, I can never remember where it shows that error. Hold on, file, package. Show data, fonts, show problems only. Links and images, show problems only. Colors, print settings. It should give me a pop-up. It's not giving it to me. All right, so it used to give you a pop-up that said, kind of like how it does for your links and images and your colors, if there's like RGB or spot colors. So that stinks. It doesn't do it that way. So basically, the easiest way is to go down here, and if it shows an error, go to the pre-flight panel, and it will show you the error and what page it is on, and you can click on that page. Yeah, I know. It's Monday, so InDesign doesn't want to work for me. My InDesign, I'm not going to lie, I've had some issues with it since the last update. You'll notice when I go to package, it runs across the entire screen, and it seems like there's nothing I can do to fix that. I expanded it somehow once, and now it won't go back. So I've had some really weird issues since my last update that other people haven't had issues with. So it could pop up the error for you. I'm hoping with this next update, Adobe gets their act together, because it hasn't been just me. There's been a lot of really weird things that happened since the last Adobe update. But that's how you can tell. You can also pull up the pre-flight panel. So if you go to Output, Pre-flight, you can leave this open and it'll show you when errors are happening. So some people like to work with the pre-flight panel open. You know, I feel like every mod I have to reset how my InDesign looks so it matches you guys. So I used to keep certain things set up certain ways, and now that I teach more than anything else, basically, a lot of my specific settings have, you know, disappeared from my workflow. But you can create, you know, a new workspace in InDesign once you kind of get everything to how you want it to look. So now I have kind of everything how I want it to look almost. So I can then create a new workspace and name it. I'll name it Shannon Workspace. Hit OK. So now I can go into that essentials when I'm teaching, and I can go to the Shannon Workspace when I'm not teaching, and it has everything how I want it to look. So, you know, now that you've kind of become more familiar in InDesign, you can really set things up to the way that you work with things. Let me see if I can. I don't even know if I have this anymore. It was a library. I used to have a library, an InDesign library, that had so many things that I used all the time. And that's another good thing about the CC libraries, is you can save certain things. So if you go to Window, CC libraries, you'll notice I have a bunch of libraries set for all different classes that I normally teach. And, you know, you can set colors, but you can also add in objects, you know, vector objects, other objects that you use all the time, logos that you use all the time. When I was making coupons for a living, I had presets of all of our disclaimers that we always use in a library. So then when I hit, you know, this coupon needs disclaimer D, I had them all labeled in my library, and all I had to do was drag things right out of my library. Like we made Totoro cards for something for our daughter. So all you need to do is drag it out of your library into your InDesign document, and there it is. So libraries are great. You know, again, these are all the things that now that you're a little bit more familiar with the workflow of InDesign, you can start really customizing things to, you know, make your life easier. All right, so everything so far looks good. I removed that folio on page 4. Everything looks good. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna do a package. Oh, that drives me nuts every time I see it. I'm going to navigate over to week 4. So go into my DES 105 folder, week 4, assignment. Make sure I have high quality print. I don't want the one with the bleed marks and crop info because we don't have a bleed here. Package that and hit OK. Which reminds me, another common thing that happened this week to a couple of people. Let me finish making this PDF and then I'll show you. Some people accidentally had theirs set up with a bleed. So let's say that you did that. You accidentally had it set up with a bleed. So yours looks like this, and you need to take that bleed out. All you have to do is go up into File, Document Setup, and just go in here and reset the bleed to 0 and hit OK, and it'll just remove that bleed for you. All right, so close out your file. Find your folder that you just packaged. Again, it's in week 4 assignment. I know exactly where I put it. I'm going to either click and hold Control to make a zip file or hit compress after I right click. Either way, I'm hitting compress. And for those of you on a PC, I'm going to look up real quick while I have everybody here. Creating a zip file on Windows 10. I think that's what everything is now. The last time I was in Windows, I'm not gonna lie, was Windows 7. So what you would need to do is, I don't know how long that video is, but it looks like you select the folder, you probably right click on it and go send to compressed zip folder. So click on the folder, right click on it, send to compressed zip folder. And that'll zip the folder on the PC for you. So again, just quick Google. All right, so here we go. We have our zip folder. Gonna go up, submit the assignment. And again, you can choose the file. Go into your recent places to find it. Select the zip folder. And then if you want to add another file, open that up and click on the PDF. So you can upload both if you want and then do submit assignment. I'm not going to do that because it'll take up a whole bunch of bandwidth while I'm sitting here on using up enough bandwidth. All right, so we definitely finished this mock-up early. Is there anything else that you would like me to show you how to do in InDesign that you know, you would like, you guys, there's a couple of you here tonight that you would like me to go over? Some things that might have been giving you some trouble, or I can kind of go over again the libraries, you know, kind of setting up those libraries with you, setting up custom swatches if you guys want to go over a little bit of that. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is, for those of you who are here and for those of you at home, I'm going to stop this video